Welcome to Guided Life, where we meet our personal guidance team and learn how to work with our unseen crew of spiritual sidekicks. Your guides are ready and waiting for you to tap into their wisdom, help, and build the life you truly want. Host Shannon Ratay is a life and career coach, angel messenger, and medium who is known for her unique gifts of delivering messages from our collective team, including angels, fairies, and other helpers. Shannon leads you through each episode with spiritual downloads, energetic transmissions, powerful visualizations, and more, helping you tap into your own tuition to strengthen your confidence and connection. Shannon's calling is to empower you to create an extraordinary life. And now, here's your host of Guided Life, Shannon Ratay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back for another episode of Guided Life, where we take the opportunity to explore the relationship with a different aspect or member of our guidance team, or working with our guidance team, because they want to be in touch with us. They want to be working with us. I'm your host, Shannon Ratay. If you happen to be new here, just to let you know, because we're going to be talking a bit about it today, that my background is as a life coach. I focus on working with creatives specifically, and most often in the realm of job and job search. And that's going to be important today because that is so much of how I learned what I know about connecting with our guidance teams is from that work and what I discerned through the process of helping my clients find jobs. And it's going to serve as a really good example for today as we continue the conversation about working with our primary guides. Last month, if you didn't tune in, we met our primary guides. So those guides that are in charge of our whole, our whole school of life experience. That idea that if life is like school and we're here to learn a whole bunch of lessons, that it's our primary guides who are in charge of that curriculum and making sure that we are learning the lessons that we set out to learn. So today, instead of moving on to a new topic, we are going to settle in and talk about building the relationship with them, right? That it's one thing to meet them, and then it's another thing to build that relationship and learn how to co-create, how to collaborate, how to work together. So I'm excited to talk more about that shortly. In the meantime, I'm already seeing some of my favorites in the comments. So I am going to take a moment and say hello to me and my shadow. Thank you so much for being here. Always great to have you here. Holistic Harmonies. My dear friend Fran, Queen Fairy Fran, was just on messages from the Enchanted Realms with me. And I love her cheekiness, telling her that her guide guided me here. Well, her guide is very wise. I already know that she's got some really good guides that are working for her and with her on her behalf. Hello, Jennifer McCormick. Thank you so much for being here. Always really appreciate all the time and attention. Evelyn, my dear. Evelyn, thank you for being here. And of course, the lovely Kelly Brickle. Kelly, my producer, and the producer of all of these shows on Sacred Spiral Network. I really appreciate the constant love and support. So what we will do is we'll go ahead and get started. Just to begin, the idea is that what we're going to do is we'll talk a little bit about main guides here today. So we'll do a quick review, but then we'll talk about building relationships with them. So we'll discuss the whole relationship aspect and the relationship piece. And then from there, what we're going to do is move into a grounding exercise. That grounding exercise normally takes a good, 7-8 minutes. After the grounding exercise, I will share an energetic transmission. That energetic transmission will be my way of sharing energetically, right? Like my system to your system, what it knows about building relationships with our primary guide. From there, we will move into a guided visualization. And this guided visualization, it's going to last about 10 minutes. So you can think about that in terms of where you want to be and how you want to be. A lot of people like to get comfortable for the guided visualizations, but this one's going to be a bit more of a hang with that primary guide. And from there, we will stick around after to either answer some questions, see what showed up for people. Give me an opportunity to hang with your guides and see what we've learned from the visualization. Let's see. All right. Oh gosh, it looks like Labyrinthian Criterion is in the house. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Janelle Pardo, do we need to know who our primary guide is to be here? Great question. No, you don't, as a matter of fact. I do recommend, if you get a chance, to go back and listen to last month's show, because that can be a great clue into maybe some of the specifics of them. So I really appreciate the question. But no, all we are going to do is, because the truth is, and this is why this is such a great question, we already know who they are, right? We are already working with them. We already have a connection with them. And so this is actually trying to bypass a little bit of having to know exactly who they are, what their name is, what they look like, how they would connect with us, trying to bypass some of that thinking that we have to understand and know exactly who they are, like that kind of clarity, and move right into building the relationship, seeing if we can understand or uncover how we're already in relationship with them, how we're already talking to them or hearing them or seeing them or noticing the synchronicities that they are, those nice little winks from the universe that they're sending our way. And so I'm really excited that you actually don't have to know who they are. This is more about just hanging out with them and seeing what we notice when we actually let go of that need to know exactly who they are. So great question. Thank you. Thank you, Janelle. Lynn Juno, thank you so much for being here. Lynn is another one of the hosts at Sacred Spiral Network. She has a great show where she does these really delightful ribbon readings, and so it's always a treat to have Lynn here. She was also one of the guest hosts for Messages from the Enchanted Realm, and we just had such a great time doing this together. Hello, Angela. Thank you for being here. And thanks for the love, Janelle. I hope that answered your question. All right. So then, I will put that in the, part of what inspired the content from this show is anyone who happened to be around last month. Vivian, after the visualization, was like, oh, I could sense my guide, right? Like I could sense them. I knew that they were there, but, I couldn't tell who they were. Right. And so I know Vivian is traveling right now because I had reached out to her. I actually asked her if she wanted to be on the show because I thought it might be fun to do a little bit of coaching around that, and that uncovering some of the information around her primary guide might help other people uncover information about their primary guide. And she's traveling, so not available. And so then I switched gears to think about it a slightly different way. And that idea of like, how do we build relationships? Because this is just a relationship. So how do we build a relationship with someone who lives in a different realm, right? Who lives in this different kind of intangible realm. So anyway, as a result, that's where this show came from, right? So last month was talking about who your main guide is. And today instead is just talking about what comes next, or for some of us, what actually might come first. Because as you think about all the relationships in your life, right, relationships tend to not be built from one moment, right? Like they tend not to be built from one interaction. You might have some relationships that, you think of like love at first sight, right? Like you have that big meet cute moment, but that is not the case for the vast majority of our relationships. They're instead built through a series of ordinary moments, right? Like ordinary moments, hanging out bit by bit, piece by piece. And so I'd even invite you at this moment to think about how you have built relationships in your life, right? Like, how have you built the different friendships in your life? How have you built the different partnerships in your life? Those relationships in your life that have stood the test of time, right? How have you actually built them over time? Now, as a quick reminder, when we think of our primary guide, this guide has been with us since the beginning of time. We have other guides who might rotate in and out to help us out through different phases of our lives. You better believe, right? Like I've got a different guide who's working with me right now as I am learning how to do these sorts of things on a public stage, right in front of all of you all. I've talked before about my fear of public speaking and how terrifying you all are. So you better believe I have a different guide that's helping me learn the lessons around visibility and being in the public and all the things that come along with doing a show like this. But on the flip side, my primary guide has been with me from the very beginning, and so has yours. And if we think about life as a school, they are overseeing all the lessons that we came here to learn. And what's really fascinating about them is so often people think of them as being big and bombastic, or like coming in like that bolt of lightning, or like these big dramatic moments. And that has not been my experience. Between my primary guide and the guides that I've done, that I've come across for the people I've done readings with, they often come in more as the strong silent type, right? More of that silent partner, that's just quietly overseeing things from the corner. And so to really adjust our expectation that, I'm laughing as I'm thinking about, like from the Greek god perspective, like Zeus and this big booming, all-knowing force. They're like that, but it's not quite as dramatic as that. It's often more subtle and simple. And I gave a couple of archetypes, right? Like they might be like the chairman of the board. And if you've ever worked for a company, you might not have ever even met the chairman of the board if you've worked for a company, right? Like if you're thinking about school, they're not one of the teachers. They're more like the dean, right? Who often too, you might not interact with on the day to day. I had one woman who her guide came through as like the mafia boss, right? Like that sat in the back corner of the Italian restaurant and just was making sure stuff was happening, but was not the one that was front and center. And these are just to give you some ideas and some archetypes of what we might be working with. But yeah, that their job is just simply to make sure you're learning what you signed up to learn as you got here, to when you came into this 3D world. So, but as we're heading in today, I actually want you to do a big eraser and let go of expectations, right? Like I really want you to let go of an idea of how it is you think that they should show up, with the idea that we're opening up the possibility that you are already interacting with them on a day-to-day basis. And it's more just about uncovering how it is you are already partnering with them. Because, right, like we'll talk a little bit more about this. Some people see, some people hear, some people feel, some people experience synchronicities and, sort of like the miracle approach, right? There is no one right way to be partnering with your primary guide. All right. So glad to have you back over, Kweezy. Great to have you back. Welcome back. All right. with that in mind, as we're thinking about building the relationship and how you might build relationships, there are a couple of things that are common to building a relationship. We're going to think about it from the beginning, right? So, how to build a relationship. And I am also going to provide examples around what I learned from people building relationships with their primary guide, with how they built those relationships with the people that I coached, right? Because the people that I coach who are looking for jobs, the first thing I introduce is, their invisible partner, right? Their invisible partner to help guide them along their way. And this is where that concept of us working directly with our guards began, when I began realizing that the imaginary friend that was helping them, the imaginary archetype, the imaginary person that was helping them in their job search was actually one of their guides. So I am going to tie that concept in of building a relationship with how people built a relationship to their guides through finding a job and job search, and what I've seen over and over again. Welcome, Jennifer Rose. And oh, I'm seeing a great little paragraph from Jennifer McCormick, so I can't wait to read this. She says, last month I had a beautiful connection during the transmission. My guides reminded me I'll never walk alone. My son was rushed to the hospital a few days later, and my angel team had been working hard around us. Oh, Jennifer McCormick, my heart goes out to you. First, I am so sorry that you had to go to the hospital, because I know how scary that is. And I really do hope that he's doing okay. And I can't tell you how just emotionally get with the idea that you could sense your angel team, and that they knew that you knew that they were with you, and that they've been working hard for you and for your son. And I really do hope not only that he's doing okay, that he's doing well, but that you're actually feeling some of the relief and support of the team around you. So thank you so much for sharing, Jennifer McCormick. My heart is with you. Yeah, and I'm just touched by your message. All right. So then, the 3 steps to building a relationship. Like, number 1, regular low pressure contact, right? So often with our primary guides, like, we can come in with our guns blazing, right? Like, all right, primary guide, tell me my soul's purpose, right? Like, what am I meant to do in this world, right? We come in guns blazing with this really high demand for something really big and high pressure. And instead, what's really great is that as I've been working with people who are looking for jobs, we start small, right? Like, we don't come in with that idea like, hey, guide, get me my new job. I'm just going to sit here and wait. We instead have them start practicing. I have them start practicing with small interactions, right? Like, hey, main guide, right? Should I apply for this job? Hey, main guide, I need to reach out to someone to network with and have a conversation. Who's the first person I reach out to? So if you think about that big project of looking for a job, that the relationship actually gets built from all those small little decisions and little interactions that get made. So perhaps think about something that you're working on, or something you want to accomplish, and like that project, that thing you want to accomplish, whatever you're up to, might be a great place to start in terms of building your own relationship with your primary guide. Okay. So yeah, number 1, that regular low pressure contact. Okay. Step number 2 of the steps to building a relationship: connecting over shared interests, right? So in this case, in the job search case, you better believe our primary guide is interested in getting my clients their dream job, right? So there's that shared interest. So for you, yeah, thinking about, okay, what am I up to in the world? What is interesting to me? What am I trying to create? What am I trying to build? What am I trying to experience? And the good news is chances are your primary guide is very interested in that as well. So picking a concrete thing that the two of you can work together on. And Number 3, right? Step number 3, active listening and empathy. So, of course, you can think in your own world about relationships that you've built, right? That, like, oh, yeah, it took me showing up and, we're thinking about human relationships, listening to what they have to say, understanding what's important to them, right? Like, really taking that time to absorb what it is they're trying to share with us and what it is we want to know about them and what they want to know about us. And so this is a great time just to simply remind you all that when it comes to working with our primary guide, we all, we say listen, but we all absorb the way that they're communicating with us in a different way. So, for example, it's a great time to review the 8 clairs, right? The 8 clairs, the 8 ways that we communicate not only with our primary guide, but with all of the members of our team. And so many of us do one of these naturally. So just listen to the list. We'll do a quick review. Listen to the list and see which ones, which ones strike a chord with you. Right? There is the one that's pretty popular, clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is the clear seeing. It's seeing the images, seeing the pictures in your mind's eye, getting something that flashes in front of you. Clairvoyance can also be, if you're dreaming, that's a form of clairvoyance. It can also be if you notice the synchronicities by, an object or a thing that's being placed in front of you. So it's the clair seeing. Then number 2 is clairaudience, clear hearing. It's like turning over to a radio channel. I'm primarily clairaudience, so I'll hear like a little radio channel voice in my head. Oftentimes it sounds right, like just like my voice, but I know it's not mine. And I do a great show on clairaudience earlier in the year where we go into it in depth and we go more in depth to all of the clairs. So I recommend going back and listening to the show on clairaudience. There's clairsentience, which is clear feeling. You might feel that cold rush come into the room. You might feel a presence in the room. That's clairsentience. There's claircognizance. Claircognizance is that inner sense of just knowing, right? Sometimes you can walk down the street, or there are people who can walk down the street and they look at someone and they're like, oh, I know that person's about to get married. Or just that inner sense of knowing that seems to come out of nowhere. It's the people who are primarily claircognizant that often don't realize that they are working with their guidance team because it feels like it's coming directly from themselves. Then there is, I've heard this pronounced 2 different ways, clairsalience or clairalience. So sometimes there's an S and sometimes there isn't. And there's just that clear smelling, right? This comes often in as a support to other ways of sensing. So if I'm doing a reading and I get that sense of like cigarette smoke, or sometimes it can be the cigarette smoke itself that is the indicator that somebody's there, that there's a presence there, something that's trying to get my attention. I once did a reading for someone and I got this big old whiff of hairspray. And so I said to her, who had the hairspray? And she's like, oh, that was my mom. She used to, empty out a can of Aquanet all the time. They're clairgustance, which is clear tasting. Every so often you'll get a taste in your mouth. When I would long ago initially sense a presence, I would get a bitter taste in my mouth. There's clairtangency, which is a clear sense of touch, and then clear empathy, right? That clear emotional knowing. So there are a whole range of ways in which our guides can communicate with us. And it's just a matter sometimes of hanging back and building that relationship so we get that better understanding of what's already going on for us. Well, I will ask you, right? Like as I am mentioning all the clairs, do you already know how your team, how your system works to communicate with your team? How are you already communicating? Are you clairsentient? Are you clairaudient? Got a little something in my eye. I'm curious. If you're willing to share in the notes in the comments, how you're already connecting with your team. All right. And I will say hello to some of the newer people that have showed up. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome, Karen. Welcome, Sarah. It's good to see you here again. Thanks so much for being here again. Oh, Michael Christopher. Hello, hello. Michael Christopher and I are brand new Facebook friends, so I'm honored that you're here, Michael Christopher. Although you're always so good at popping in and saying hello. And hello, Sylvia. Good to have you here, Sylvia. So I will share that I am primarily, I have a lot of clairaudience, and that's the way that I work. And I know that there's a lot of misconceptions about it, which is why I share about it a lot. Evelyn says, I hear and I feel. Yes, that does not surprise me. That you hear and you feel your connection. Oh, Michael Christopher. Okay, that claircognizance. Michael Christopher says, for me, it's a knowing about what they're telling me. So yeah, I am always a bit jealous of the people who have that claircognizance, right? Because they're the ones that come up with the coolest things, right? Like out of nowhere, the download that they get, that information that they get, yeah, super cool. Oh, holistic harmonies. Fran says a knowing outside of my own thoughts. So that inner knowing, that claircognizance. Oh yeah, Michael Christopher, like a download. You know, I'll get those downloads once in a while, but I can't really rely on them. My system doesn't always just work on it, doesn't always work like that. So that's really cool. You and I have to talk a little bit more about that. Yeah, the claircognizance. You're exactly right. Holistic harmonies. You're exactly right that claircognizance is just that inner knowing. All right. So then we are just about to transition. What I'm going to do is do a grounding exercise, get us grounded for a moment into our bodies. If you're like me, sometimes you like to float away. Or if you're like me, yeah. Yeah, I like to float away, so I have to hold on to different things to help keep me grounded. Yes, Michelle, it's good to have you here. Labyrinthine criterion, your inner power. Yeah, that is the perfect thing to claim. I assume I might be missing something in the comments there, and that might referring to something else. But hey, I'll take it if there's a Claire inner power, I will hand that to you. Ooh, clairsentience and claircognizance for Jennifer McCormick. And she says, my clairvoyance and clairaudience have developed more recently. I do get smells and tastes a lot too. Yeah, it's really fun when the smells and tastes come in. They're a little bit more of a surprise for me when they come through and seem to be a little bit of the specialty of whatever being that I'm working with. But I really do enjoy when that happens. Oh, Linda Nelson. That's really cool. She says feeling and knowing that sometimes things just come out of her mouth. Yes, right? Like the right words just flow right out. And a sort of visioning of quick glimpses of faces. Great. That visioning of the quick glimpses of faces is a form of clairvoyance, right? So that is a form of clairvoyance. So we're getting a great example of how we're already communicating with our team. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and settle into our grounding exercise. This prepares us nicely to be able to receive the energetic transmission that's going to come up after. And from that energetic transmission, where my system shares what it knows about being in relationship with our primary guide, I will then move into a guided visualization. That's always my clue that I'm becoming a little ungrounded, is when words become unnecessary and I just skip right over them. We'll move into the guided visualization where we get to hang out with our primary guides. So then, taking a moment to feel your bottom in the chair. And if for some reason you're not sitting down, noticing your feet, right? Noticing your feet, on the earth, on the ground, or if you're me, noticing your feet tucked up underneath you. And perhaps noticing your back as it's leaning up against the chair. All of those points of contact with solid surfaces. As you notice that contact, settling in with a few deep breaths. Breathing in, breathing out. As you continue to breathe, letting your attention take you to your bones. Because when you're in your bones, you're in your body. Noticing first your spine. Taking your attention to the top part of your spine where it meets your skull in your neck. And letting your attention slowly travel down your spine, vertebra by vertebra, through your neck, to your upper back, down your mid back, all the way into your lower back, to your tailbone. Because when you're in your bones, you're in your body. Letting your attention notice your skull, all of the plates that come together to make up your skull, and your jaw. Letting your attention come to your shoulder blades, perhaps moving them, being in the bones of your shoulder blades as they connect into your shoulders, and noticing your arm bones, your finger bones, your collarbone, down to your sternum, and traveling through your ribs. Then noticing your leg bones. Special attention going to those ankles and all the bones of your feet and those little piggy toes. Taking a moment again to notice them all in harmony together, all of those bones. And one more time, all the way down your spine to that tailbone, as it magically grows, becoming a tail that travels all the way down to the center of the earth. And as it goes down, 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 down to the center of the earth, it finds an interesting object down there, perhaps a rock or a crystal or some other piece of treasure, and wraps itself around. While roots then grow out of the bottom of your feet, and those roots go as far and wide as that tail goes deep. From there, noticing around you is this nice little bubble, this nice little energetic bubble, which is your own personal space. It's like your own little personal snow globe. You get to inhabit the space of this snow globe. It's your own personal space. And that energetic edge is a nice little, just sort of energetic protection is a strong word, but this nice little energetic barrier, sort of denoting your own space in the universe. As you're noticing your own personal snow globe bubble, taking a moment to call back in your sparkle. You might have deposited it here or there. So calling your sparkle back in. I left a little bit of mine at the coffee shop this morning, so got to take it back, take it back. And as you are calling back in your sparkle, returning to sender anyone else's sparkle that you might have picked up. Oftentimes we can pick up some not sparkle from other people in places, so return to sender, and we will intend that that will continue to happen. And last but not least, we'll take a moment to ask our chakras to become the perfect size and aperture to be in the mode to hear today's transmission and aid us in the visualization. So just asking our chakras to get into the perfect spot, get themselves in formation. And I'm going to call in a little bit more ground so everyone feels perfectly supported by the perfect amount of perfectly attuned, that's going to be my word, ground. There we go. So just noticing that ground, warm and supportive, rising up to meet you in just the way that your system wants and needs it. All right. Taking a moment to notice what is different in your system now, how it feels now. Okay. For those of you that are tuning in, we just did a nice, lovely grounding exercise to get everyone in attunement and ready for what is coming next, which is an energetic transmission that I am going to provide. So this energetic transmission is going to be my system sharing with your system what it knows about building relationships with primary guides. And for you all to know that this is an energetically held space. There is an energetic container in place. And for those of you that this is important to know that I have put instructions in the container that everyone gets exactly what they need, no more or no less, so that this is designed to, be exactly right for your systems. I will even say that, on a grander scale, that energetic container also asks that only the people that are meant to be here today are meant to be here, that show up, right? Like that there is even a container in place that your guides have called you in to be made available for this information. And so to know you are here on purpose and that, this energetic transmission is being done exactly for your systems. So what I am doing is I am putting together an energy ball of information and just letting my system fill it in with an assist from all of your primary guides. And when the time is right, I'll ask you to go ahead if you want, and you can just go ahead and put your hands up to the camera or up to the screen and allow yourselves to receive through your hands. So just like receiving a present. All right. So I am being told that this energy ball is in the perfect spot. So I am going to hold it up to the camera. And then whenever you're ready, you can simply put your hands up to the screen or imagine putting your hands up to the screen and just simply letting yourself receive. So here we go. Whew. Yeah. So simply allowing yourself to receive, just like you're receiving a present. You don't have to do anything other than simply allow the energy to be transmitted and allowing your hands to receive. You might notice some tingling. You might notice a slight charge, like a little bit of static electricity. Or you simply might notice a state of peace or of ease and flow. Just simply receiving. All right. This one's a little bit on the faster side. And I'm hearing transmission almost complete and transmission complete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dismantle this energy ball. And as you are sitting there, just simply letting your systems digest, right? Simply letting your systems digest. They feel nice and busy. Very good. All right. And as your systems are digesting, getting yourselves ready for what's next, which is the guided visualization. So for a lot of people, the guided visualization, they enjoy being in a quiet space where, quiet space where you have privacy. Being horizontal, whether it's on the sofa or in your bed. And that, or if you're a meditator, it might even be sitting in a meditation position. So just finding a good spot for you to be able to, enjoy the visualization. All right, I am going to roll right into it. This one's a little bit shorter. So if you're here, normally they take about 10 minutes, but this one is going to be shorter because we're just doing a hang. All right, this is the guided visualization to help you deepen your relationship with your primary guide. Today, we're not here to meet someone new. We're here to spend some time and settle in with someone who has been walking beside us for our entire lives. They've been here the whole time. Your primary guide has been with you through every chapter of your journey. The ups and the downs, the good times and the bad, and all the while, they have been celebrating your joys. They have been witnessing your struggles, cheering you on through those struggles, gently encouraging your growth, and holding that big, broad perspective on the extraordinary life you are here to create. Like any meaningful long-term relationship, this one also deepens through attention, through trust, and for time spent together. So today is simply an opportunity to spend a few quiet moments in that relationship. So if you haven't already, go ahead and settle in, finding a comfortable spot, some place where you can take a moment to enjoy hanging out with your primary guide. Once you've settled in, begin by taking a slow, comfortable breath. Breathing in, breathing out. If it feels right to you, allow your shoulders to soften. Feel the weight of your body. Perhaps noticing any spots of tension. Breathing into that spot. And on your exhale, continuing to release that tension. Noticing the rhythm of your breathing. With each exhale, allowing yourself to become just a little more present, a little more in your body. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. And any noises in the background just allow you to go that much deeper. For these next few moments, simply allow yourself to receive. As you relax, Let your imagination take you to a familiar path. Imagine yourself walking along that familiar path. There's no need to know exactly where you are. Just simply imagine and let yourself notice whatever comes into your awareness. Perhaps it's your favorite forest trail. Perhaps it's a path along the beach, or in a meadow, or a cute garden, or somewhere else entirely. Maybe it's a city path down a series of alleys. Just trust whatever arises. Continue walking until you arrive at a place that feels peaceful, a place that feels safe. Just pick a place where meaningful conversation feels like it could happen naturally. Notice this place. What's here? What does it look like? Notice the light, the sounds, the feeling of being here. As you are here, you begin to notice, hey, your primary guide is nearby. They're with you. The good news is there is no need to make anything happen. There's no need to search. Today, simply allow yourself to notice them in whatever way feels natural. Perhaps you see them. What might they look like? Perhaps you simply sense a presence. What do they feel like? Perhaps you only feel a deep knowing that they are here. Trust that feeling. However you experience them is exactly right. Perhaps you don't experience them right now. That's just fine too. Just take a few quiet moments simply being together. No questions, no expectations, just presence. As you settle into this shared space, notice how it feels to simply spend some time together without expectation. Relationships aren't only built through conversation or seeing one another. Sometimes they deepen simply through being present with each other. So if it feels right, just allow yourself to receive whatever this moment has to offer. When you're ready, you might ask your guide the following questions. And as is the theme today, just allow whatever comes. There's no need to force an answer. Just simply notice. It is all just fine. Primary guide, what do you most want me to know today? Primary guide, what strength do you see in me that I don't always recognize in myself? And again, just allow and listen and notice. And when you're ready, ask, primary guide, what is one simple practice that would deepen our relationship? Perhaps it's something you do. Perhaps it's something you stop doing. Perhaps it's simply a way of paying attention. Just do your best to trust whatever arises. And finally, ask, primary guide, as I move through this coming week, what invitation do you have for me? Just something your soul is being gently encouraged toward. Take a few quiet moments with whatever comes up. Now take a moment to ask your primary guide your own questions. Before you leave, simply spend another moment together. Notice how the relationship feels now compared to when we first arrived. Perhaps nothing dramatic has changed, or perhaps something subtle has shifted. Either way, it's just fine. Now take a moment to express to your primary guide whatever feels right and genuine in this moment. Perhaps gratitude, perhaps curiosity, perhaps a request. And as you prepare to leave, remember this. This connection is here for you all the time. Your primary guide remains with you just as they've always been. The conversation can continue whenever you choose, and the relationship will continue to develop. Begin to notice your breathing once again. In and out. Feel the surface beneath you. Notice the room around you. Perhaps wiggling those fingers and toes. Wiggling anything else that feels right to wiggle. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and bringing yourself back to this space and this time, knowing that your guide is with you whenever you choose. Great work, everyone. I'm seeing some new hellos in the comments. Oh, there was a lot of sweetness in the air for that one. I don't know about you, but I felt just a lot of resonance. There was a lot of sweetness, a lot of resonance. Yeah, your guides were coming in hot. They were coming in hot with a lot of love and tenderness that felt very present in the flow. So yeah, for those of you, the new names I'm seeing, Sarah Ann, if you're still here, thank you for being here. Good to have you. Andrea Jackson, welcome. Yeah, that was really sweet and really lovely. All right. Ah, you're so welcome, Jennifer McCormick. Yeah, I'm curious if anyone is willing to share in the comments. Yeah, I'm open to hearing your ideas and your feedback, right? Because one of the things that I was recognizing is that, in my career coaching world, there is that obvious project, right? People want to find a job. And so there is that obvious project that people are working in communication with their guides with. And it really builds a strong, robust relationship as they're recognizing as they're recognizing how their guide communicates with them, being able to see the synchronicities, the particular language and communication style. So it's a perfect project for people to work on together with their guides. So I'll just throw it out there if anyone has any ideas or any thoughts. But that's the thing I'm contemplating, how to make the relationship or structure or a way to help make building the relationship even that much more robust. So I'll throw it out there. And in the meantime, if anyone had any, experiences they want to share or things that came up for them in the visualization or the transmission, I am open. I'd love to hear. So, you're so welcome, Linda. And I'm thrilled, Jennifer, that you feel at peace. There was a lot of peace and grace that was present today, and welcome, Melissa. It's great to have you here. So yeah, I will start with asking: was anyone able was anyone able to sense their primary guide or get a sense of their primary guide by hanging out with them a little bit? I'll just sit and wait. Yeah. And also, I think the other thing I will mention is one of the powerful tools in our toolkit is to also, one of the powerful tools in our toolkit is also renegotiating the relationships with our primary guides, that you can also ask from them what it is you want. For a really long time, when I would talk to my guides, I'd get answers like, oh, you'll be fine, or don't worry about it, or don't stress so much. And then I'd get these big, amazing downloads for people I was reading for. And so I finally went back to my guides and I was like, no more of this, right? It's not fair that I'm getting all of these amazing messages for the people I'm reading for. And then with me, you're just telling me, don't worry about it, or you'll be fine. So let's agree that if I'm going to be doing this work, if I have a question, I get a more specific response too. Like I really need that from you guys. And it did. It shifted and changed. So that might be another thing to contemplate as well, is like what agreements you might want to shift or change or make of your primary guide. Oh, Linda says, my great grandma Ida, who passed when her children were young, showed up. It was a beautiful conversation. She told me she had to leave when she did so she could be with me and share her wisdom with me. Oh, Linda, how beautiful. I want you to know that she is coming through right now as this bright, bright light. Like I'm seeing how luminous she is and this luminosity all around you through her presence. I'm really glad that you got the experience of having her show up for you and make her presence known with you. Oh, that's just gorgeous. All right, so we will move in then. If anyone is open to a reading from their primary guide or a message from their primary guide, you can go ahead and put open in the comments. Thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate you being here. Jennifer and I just had a lot of fun on messages from the Enchanted Realms. So I immediately see her in the comments and sort of want to jump right back in with where we left off from that show. So anyway, yeah. So if you put open in the, Cheryl Lyon Hood, you are right on in there. Up, Holistic Harmonies, open UB. Ah, excellent. Okay, Wheezy is open. All right, let's see what we've got. Yeah. All right. You know what, Kweezy? Your guides are knocking on my door. They are re-echoing. We've talked a little about this before, but they're talking about your music, Kweezy. I know you were talking about a different genre of music that you were potentially hoping to go into or thinking about going into. They want to co-create with you. Your primary guide, this is what your music is super important, and it's one of the ways in which you are working together with them. And I am seeing you being such a clear channel to your guides when you are creating your music. And there is something about, Kiwizi, I don't know if you have ever considered teaching or doing this kind of work, but it almost feels like as you continue to do your music and get an even clearer sense of how you are connecting with spirit as you are creating your music, that there is potential for you to even teach others, right? Like teaching others about how to create music, right? How to engage with music, how to, this whole other system around creating music by partnering with spirit and relating to spirit. I just feel that there is a whole lot of potential here, because what they're showing me is, not only working with your guides, but as you are tapping into spirit, being able to call in some of the greats, right? Like, I don't know who your heroes are or who some of the greats are that influence you, but being able to call them in specifically as you're creating a piece of music and saying, like, hey, I'm going to call in Bing Crosby, or hey, I'm going to call in Dizzy Gillespie, right? Like, I want to call you in to be on the team to help me create my music. And there's a way in which working with specific musicians in spirit and figuring out how to cultivate that relationship. Not only is it, your music loves you. Yes, your music does love you. And Lil Bow Wow, he's awesome. I don't think he's in spirit yet. In fact, I know he's not in spirit yet, but yeah. And so being able to call in some of those greats to be able to work with you, to be able to work with you to create, and that's something that if you were to ever consider teaching others, would be a whole different way of engaging with music, that your connection to spirit is really strong. And so that there is a big desire from your primary guide to not only do more work in this area, but to be able to teach others and pass this methodology in your system to others as you continue to do that. I'm just sorry. I'm of course seeing your dog pop in again, which is just as we're talking about Little Bow Wow, right? Like, of course I'm seeing your dog pop in, who's popped in before. Yeah. And I don't know if you play at your, local church, but I am. Little Bow Wow is alive, but it did call in your dog nicely. But yeah, just for, whether playing at your church, playing at local venues, I'm just also hearing them showing me you being out and about, even just, busking on the sidewalk, but you being out and about and playing out in front of people. Yeah, so fantastic. So yeah, Kweezy, that old music, they want you out there. They want you out there and playing and developing your own system for creating that then can be passed along to others, and that old system, that your own system has something to do with connecting with spirit and working with your team. So that is awesome. All right, who else have we got? I'm picking up on Cheryl right now, Cheryl Lion Hood, but I'm getting more of a sensation. I'm just getting a really sweet sensation of light around you, Cheryl. And so I'm just trying to see if I can interpret what that sensation of light is around you, which is really sweet. Let me just sit with this for a moment and see if I get a better sense of what this sweetness is. Oh, I think first what they're pointing to is how clairsentient you are, how deeply you feel things, right? So that can be a really powerful clair for being able to experience our guidance team between sensing presences and, sensing information and sensing. Yeah, so they're really pointing to how powerful your your sense of feeling is, and so they're bringing that in really clearly. Oh, and now I'm getting a laugh. Yeah, so what they're telling me is that with your existing work, right? Like in the existing work that you're doing, to lean into that even more. That there is a whole different layer of awareness and connection to spirit from your existing, in your existing work, that like to almost like just to trust it, right? Like to trust it. And so the example they're giving to me is, in my coaching work, since I'm clairaudient, I will hear the questions first before I ask them to my client. And in the beginning, I would get questions that were completely off topic of what we were talking about. And so it took me a little bit of time to trust that those questions were relevant to what was going on, even if it was completely off topic, right? If we're doing career coaching and I'm hearing, ask him about his girlfriend, right? That feels a little bit like crunchy to me. So in the beginning, it was uncomfortable to listen to that voice telling me what to ask. And so what they're telling me, yeah, that to trust that those physical sensations that you're getting, almost like when you're working with someone else, that you're sensing in your body what they're experiencing, and you're sensing in your body what's needed. Yeah, so to absolutely trust those sensations, that's going to add a different level of precision and accuracy, and also just, like mastery and enjoyment, right? Like being able to trust those sensations, trust that clairsentience, that they're working really closely with you in that area. And Yeah, and I'm getting an image of a primary guide. She's female, and she's a badass. There's like a sharpness, a kicking butt and taking names to her. And so yeah, that she's almost showing me, by trusting this clairsentience, it's a way that you're going to be able to elevate and stand out from the crowd, and at the same time get this different level of enjoyment of the work that you're doing. So yeah, that you get to play with that. I hope that's helpful, and I hope you get to enjoy. It's like even like plants, right? Like being able to look at a plant and be like, oh, what does the plant need? And feeling that sense of thirst, and like, oh, I'm not, it's ahead of my watering schedule, but I can sense that thirst. Okay, I'm going to water it. Or, okay, right? Like, yeah, just being able to play with the sensations in your body as you move throughout the day, including your work. Oh gosh, let's see what we've got next. Who else have we got in there? Um, hmm. All right, I'm being directed to Miss Evelyn. Evelyn, my dear, my love, you still there? Let's see what I don't. Ooh, I just got a chill, Miss Evelyn. Oh, that was kind of crazy. So yeah, big old chill. Confirming that if you're still there, that um, definitely a message for. There's definitely a message for you, Evelyn. Let's see what they got. Um, hmm. Of all the things, Evelyn, the first thing I am seeing for you, if you are still there, is that, yeah, they're showing me you being outside and having your feet in the soil. There's something about taking your shoes off and getting those feet dirty, actually being in the earth and in the dirt. I have no idea what that's about. I know that you're very connected to the earthly realms, the second dimension in the earthly realms, but they're talking about you getting out there and putting that feet in the soil. Let me see if I can get a little bit more about what that's about. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah, it's a different, not a surprise, but there's something important about this different kind of grounding, and yeah, giving your ability even more grounding, and just how important that is. That we talk about grounding and we can imagine that earth energy and that grounding energy, but they're telling me, oh, got it. Got it. That there's something happening in your system right now that's rewiring some of the electrical systems. That there's something uh yeah, nerve wise, electrical in your system that's happening. And so by grounding, you're going to be able to ground that charge that's going to allow for more healing, more movement of energy. Yeah, that there's something important to the overall balance. There's something important to the overall balance, and charge and healing that's going on, that's going to be magnified if you're going out and standing in the earth and the ground. And those of you that listen notice, like, yeah, that's not normally the direction I head, but yeah, you're getting those feet dirty, actually standing in the soil. And I'm almost feeling this like even heightened rewiring, just sort of electricity aliveness that's going to be allowed in your system from that grounding. um, and your guides are telling me that, your primary guide is telling me, if you're not to be writing down your dreams in the morning, that there's something about writing down your dreams that you'll remember more of them and cultivate more of that dreams. That it's in your dreams where a lot of your messages and communication with your guides gets to happen, because it's in your dreams where all of your senses come alive. They're even saying that this like firing and wiring, actually that has to do with the brains and the brain chemistry. That this is also the grounding, allowing for more, yeah, but that's also allowing for more firing in the brain as well. And so then in your dreams, between the clairsentience, the clairaudience, the clairvoyance, the claircognizance, all of those things come alive in one package in your dreams. And that the grounding yeah, that the grounding will help for the grounding will help for that refiring, rewiring that's happening as well. Oh, to alleviate pain, and nerves have been cut. Yeah, I have. Nerves can be rebuilt from my understanding. So this is really exciting, Evelyn, because it feels like, part of what they're telling you about grounding is, yeah, some of this reconnecting up of nerves and energy in your system. And I just heard a big yes to that. So I hope that helps, and we'll stay in communication about this, Evelyn. I hope that helps. All right. Let's see what we're at. Ooh, all righty. I'm hearing from the team that there's one more person to, let's see. All right, Michelle, you are up. You are up. Although I just saw so you're up, but I just saw a really great. Let's see what we got. I just saw Jennifer McCormick's comment, so I'm going to read it, because you're Jennifer. Your comments always help all of us so much. My guide wants me to connect more through breath work. I find it hard to breathe sometimes, so it makes sense. I'm similar, Jennifer. I'm a really bad breather. I will hold my breath sometimes. So I have not done a ton of breath work, but I've heard so many people just have such amazing results from breath work. So I'm really glad to hear that. That's another, that breath work, being able to connect to so many of our different clairs. So that's wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful. Oh, and Evelyn says that her dreams have been crazy. Great. They want you to write those down, Evelyn, because apparently they're significant. And yeah, they want you to get the information from them and see the through lines and all of those things. So, all right. Last but not least, Mish. Okay. Mish. Let's see what we got. I'm not getting they're telling me to talk to you, and let me see if I can see what's coming through. Mish, your guide right now is coming through and just showing me how huge they are, right? They are showing me how huge and enormous they are. And they're coming through as genderless, but I'm just feeling them as this huge, massive presence. And part of the reason that they are coming through right now in that way is they are wanting to remind you how massive and huge and powerful you are. How massive and huge and powerful you are. So I'm just sitting with this for a moment. They're saying it happens to us all, that there can be these moments that we might feel small. We might have things happen to us. We might have interactions with certain people that we might doubt our size or our strength or our power, and we might end up feeling small. But your guide is coming in and saying, like, I don't work with any pipsqueaks, right? Like, I don't work with any pipsqueaks. Yeah, I only work with big, powerful presences, and that's what you are, Mish. That's exactly what you are. Um, mm. They are talking also about your ability, your clairsentience, right? Like your ability to feel. And part of what's important about your ability to feel is they also want you to sit with that sense. Oh, I'm getting chills again. Oh, whoosh, sorry. It's so uncomfortable. I don't get them that often. Wanting you to sit. And as you sit in the earth, in the ground, just to sit there and imagine yourself getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Right. To reestablish that sense in your body, right? Using your own clairsentience to be able to sense your own self and your own massiveness. Um, they're saying, your step one is you, right? So that before that, our brains can sometimes race to like, oh, what do I need to do? What do I need to fix? Our to-do list. And in this particular case, they're reminding you that the main action right now is to take that moment and sit with yourself and find yourself and let yourself feel that sense of bigness and hugeness. Like step one is you, and then move from that place, feeling your own power and then taking action. Like in the morning, finding that sense of power and size and girth, and then deciding to go move into your day. That's going to make a huge difference just in terms of how you experience yourself and then how your whole day and the world around you transforms. I also get the sense of like people then trying to give you a hard time or situations trying to give you a hard time. And it kind of just like bounces off of you, right? Like it just sort of bounces off of you because you're so big and massive. They come in like, the little flea, and it's like you don't even notice them because they bounce right off of you. Yeah. So it's almost like they don't want me to complicate the message by giving you any more, but just to know how big and massive you are and how big and massive your guide is, and everyone and everything else is kind of, just, a little speck in comparison to your capacity. So I hope that helps. And that is it for right now. I will tell you, Maria Scorpio, yes, he will come back. And I don't know when. It's going to be a while. It's after you meet other people. And 3, right? You are 3 kids. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure they're all yours biologically, but I keep hearing 3. So that's that's your parting message for today. I always enjoy having you here. Yes, really. I over and over I hear 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So yeah. He will come back. I'm not sure you're going to want him when he comes back, but he will be back. And so you are so welcome, my love. I really appreciate you always being here. I really appreciate all of you being here. The other thing to know is that if any of you want to continue to build the relationship, take this deeper dive, I will be offering a class on Zoom at the end of the month. So we're going to be delving into the practices that help build the relationships. Not only we're going to focus on our primary guide, but then can be replicated, right? So many of us know that we have our guides, but then it's that ability to build the relationship with them. So then we can be co-creating our lives on a day-to-day basis. And that's when everything changes, when we have that ability to co-create with them and be in relationship with them. So in order to build that relationship, it is class on Monday, July 27th, at 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday, July 27th, 9 a.m. Pacific. It's going to be 90 minutes. It's going to be on Zoom. So you'll get to work directly with me and some other, the other participants who show up. So we'll all get to partner together, do exercises, build the relationship, get to know our primary guides better because we know we're there. We know they're there. So getting to work with them directly. So I'm super excited to be able to offer this to all of you and help you deepen that relationship. Kelly, thank you. Just put the link in the comments in the little banner. So she just put the link in the banner to the sign up. You can also go to my Instagram, and the information is in my Instagram at Shannon Ratay, all one word. It's in my Facebook. It is also on the Sacred Spiral Network Facebook page. So yeah, you can reach out to any of those places. You'll probably see some familiar faces at that class. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, but it would be really great to get to work one-on-one with all of you in that workshop on the 27th at 9 a.m. Let's see. Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, and Jennifer Rose, thank you for saying an amazing teacher. I try. Thank you. I really appreciate all of you being here. And yeah, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you either at class at the end of the month, or next month. So I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks so much, everyone. And as usual, I never know how to end. So, all right, Kelly, I think we did it. Thanks so much to my producer, Kelly Brickle, my producer, everyone's producer at Sacred Spiral Network. Thank you so much for everything, Kelly. Bye-bye, everyone.